Hey guys, Walker Reviews. In this video I'm going to go through my top favourite, I guess you could say top 20 films from the 70's, 80's and 90's. So from a mix of just them, from the 70's, 80's, 90's, in no particular order. So Child's Play, this is from 1998, this one came out. This was the first two, obviously the first original, nothing said about the remake, I'm not watching it, but this is where it's at when it comes to Chucky and Child's Play, the one that started it all. Just great practical effects, overall a cult classic movie. Child's Play 2, most people might think this is probably the best one in terms of a good sequel. Yeah, it's set in a toy factory and see Chucky's back, coming in to wreak havoc, and I think he looks better as the movie's gone. He just looks better and better when they each do a film. I think the best I saw him was probably Child's Play 3, when Andy is he's in college and he's at a military camp or something, and Chucky finds him, comes back for revenge. The Child's Play movies, they're a good series. I will say that the newest ones, like Cult of Chucky and Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky ain't too bad, but Cult of Chucky is horrible. And Seed of Chucky. Yeah. David Cronenberg's The Fly remake of I think it's the 60's version. Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis are in this film. Cult classic. I love this film. It's body horror, so obviously coming from David Cronenberg. He's very known for his body horror films, and no exception for this one. Just this film is more like, apart from it being a horror, this is more like a tragedy horror. So, the transformation of Jeff coming into the Fly is just harrowing and just heartbreaking at the same time, but it's horrific to watch as well, and sad towards the end. But it's a good horror movie. Here we have the original Friday the 13th. I think this is a re-release. I'm not sure when from 2009. Oh, must have been the same time the remake came out. They must have repackaged this and brought it out at the same time for that one. So it's redesigned packaging. Completely. Seems a bit irrelevant to the actual original film, because Jason is not in this movie. He turns up in part 2, because it's his mum. What's her name? Pamela Voorhees. She's the killer, not Jason. So with his mask there, it doesn't really make sense, But Kevin Bacon's in this film, and when I first watched it, I had no idea he was in the movie. It was a good surprise to see him in it. And it says right there, terror before the mask. So I guess they had to include that because it's kind of the mask is iconic in the franchise. So yeah, is what it is. I mean, I like the design, but it's irrelevant to it. Event Horizon, or The Event Horizon, with Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. This is a really disturbing twisted horror film. It's set in space. These astronauts have to go to Neptune for this distress call, because it's like a ship there that's kind of sent a signal off, and they have to investigate. This reminds me a lot of Dead Space, that video game with the aliens and necromorphs that mimic dead, body parts and all that. Yeah, weird film, and it's good. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, sequel to the original one. The first one being a cult classic. This one becomes more of a comedy horror, black comedy. It's good fun though. First, Jaws, from about 1975, and this it's still one of the best films of all time. Just a brilliant movie, you know, put together very well, directed by, what's his face, Steven Spielberg. So, yeah, just an iconic movie. This is the special VHS version. It's a HMV exclusive, I think. So it comes out. It's not an actual. It's made to look like a VHS cassette, which is pretty cool. It's cool packaging, and it's pretty nice. Yeah, it kind of gives that illusion of a VHS. It comes with DVD and Blu-ray, and there's also a poster as well. So that's nice. I have seen Jaws 2, that's good as well, good sequel, but haven't seen Jaws 3 or 4. I heard that Jaws 4 was terrible as well. This one's from 1999, Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon. Strange film. It's about him. He's got about him in a house, and he's got to follow this ghost or something and listen to what the ghost has to say. I heard about this by somebody who on YouTube that was mentioning it in one of the videos, and so I checked it out, and it wasn't bad. Average, but I first saw it and I watched it again, and not a bad film. I wouldn't say it would be terrifying. It's more, I guess, a thriller than a horror film, but there is some supernatural bits in there. And of course, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just a fantastic horror film from Tobe Hooper, who also directed the sequel. And yeah, just one of the iconic greats in cinema. Banned when it came out originally, but still to this day it's a classic. John Carpenter's the Thing. Sorry, this is the special Arrow version re-release. Brilliant movie, body horror in sense, well, based on the book The Thing from Another World, or Who Goes There. This is one of my favourite ones. I love this movie. John Carpenter did a fantastic job. It wasn't a big hit when it came out in, I think, 1982. Wow. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Everyone should have this movie in their collection, at least. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, a classic movie, just iconic. Here's Johnny, you can't go wrong with this one. And I can't wait for Doctor Sleep, the sequel, which follows it ties into this one, so which is also based on the book. I didn't realise that King wrote Doctor Sleep like several years later. I think he wrote Doctor Sleep came out in like 2013. I didn't have a clue. Nobody really knew about it. But looking forward to that. Cult classic. The Silence of the Lambs. Rewatched this again recently. Just a cult classic movie. Iconic performances by Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster and Buffalo Bill. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. It places the lotion in the basket and does what it's told. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that, really. Here's a new one I picked up recently, The Lost Boys, Joel Schumacher. A funny sort of vampire horror movie. It's not some bits in it are kind of freaky, but it's more of a comedy, like horror, I would say, but it's great. I still enjoy it every time I watch it. Jacob's Ladder. Now this film is can be kind of difficult to watch because it's a very, very slow film. I'm not sure if it's based on a book. It might be. It came out in 1990. There are some really freaky images in this movie. It's a difficult film to get around because it's so slow paced and it's so in depth with the characters and everything, and the plot it kind of drags out a bit quite far. So you have to try and concentrate and focus, and you can easily just kind of switch off and get bored easily. But I've sat through this a couple of times, and yes, at times it can be boring, but you just have to try and focus and listen to the story because it's a good story. I won't say anything because it's spoiler related. So, but if you know this movie, you will understand it. This film actually inspired the Silent Hill series, so it's an influence to Silent Hill, this one. And I know there's a remake, but I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's not very good. You can't really remake classic movies. Hollywood are just running out of ideas now. John Carpenter's Halloween, just a classic movie to watch on Halloween. I watch this on Halloween every year. One of my favourites. Just an iconic theme. So simple, but iconic moments, and just an iconic theme. And the sequel, Halloween. Well, I call it Halloween off the record because it's a bit like a what if. So they ignored the other films and made this other one last year, focusing on the original 40 years later. So technically it's Halloween off the record, or Halloween Part 2, Chapter 2, because they already did have Halloween 2. Evil Dead, the trilogy, so obviously the first one is a classic, the second one is the best one, and Army of Darkness, that's awesome too. Turned more towards black comedy horror, but yeah, I really appreciate, I think my favourite is probably Evil Dead 2, but I love the original as well, and Army of Darkness, yeah, all in one case there. The Exorcist, probably the scariest. Man, I was terrified when this film came out originally. I couldn't sleep for weeks after watching it. Just certain images in this film just made it just believable because it focuses so much on religion as well. Just this comes with the extended director's cut and the original theatrical cut. Masterpiece, masterpiece. Everyone should own this movie. But if you're a bit, squeamish iffy with it, yeah, definitely give it a watch. If you don't like it, yeah. But everyone should see this movie at least once in their life. Terrified me for weeks. Most people were banned in countries as well. The original Carrie, not to be confused with the remake, which sucked. This is where it's about Carrie, the original with Cece Spacek, just her eyes. I mean, in the movie, especially with the prom scene, the most iconic scene in cinema. With, in my opinion, with that, just her eyes, the way she looked. She's so an unusual person to look at, but she's very talented and beautiful at the same time. Cece Spacek. Yeah, this is the Arrow special edition. Oh, that comes with a nice slipcover, changeable artwork on the inside, which features the original cover as well. I do like collecting the Arrow versions of movies because they're nice collector's items, and it's good. Yeah, classic. And last but not least, American Werewolf in London. just a fantastic movie. Obviously, another cult classic. But more or less, I would say this is a pioneer for modern werewolf movies. This is what started it off with this film. You can't go wrong, including that. The most iconic moment in the movie is the transformation scene when what's his name? The character's name. I can't remember his name, but the main character, when he transforms into the werewolf, it's just spectacularly well done with practical effects, and the look of it is just, as you can see there, is just believable when you see it, when you see him transform. And I like how in this one you don't see the werewolf much, just from the camera's perspective and all the characters' perspective. It just makes it even more scarier if you see the monster less. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely own this movie. So yeah, that was my top 20 movies covering from the 70s, 80s and the 90s. I hope you enjoy. If you like my content, give a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.